yesterday at tree board meeting, and just briefly with the petitioner concerning the issue of a tree protection area along Greendale Road and Sandersville Road. Generally speaking, tree protection areas don't border public right-of-way areas, and I think that's probably why the petitioner is not showing tree protection along those two areas. I think the solution here is to put a note on the plan to note the treatment of the stone walls and the preservation of the trees along Sandersville Road and Greendale Hills, or Greendale Road. Given that there may be improvements in the future that have to be made to those public right-of-ways, it would probably then prohibit the petitioner, the developer, from making improvements if we denote those as tree protection areas. I hope that makes sense. But generally speaking, we don't ever see tree protection areas along road frontages. I think the petitioner is willing to craft a note to place on the plan that will suffice for the tree protection areas along Greendale and Sandersville Road. Is that correct? And Mr. Coffin, that should help with the preservation of the stone walls and the trees along Greendale and Sandersville Road. As far as the tree removals on this property recently, that happened over the 4th of July holidays, and I actually was out of town during that time and then found out later and was contacted by the developer about that particular situation. Yes, on a previous development plan, that area was not shown as a tree protection area. Talking with staff and our Division of Engineering, there was not a grading permit issued for any land disturbance to be occurring on this property in the meantime. I'm not sure exactly if it was an oversight on a contractor's behalf. I'm not sure what happened. At technical review, I think staff had actually talked a little bit about trying to denote this area as not only a tree protection area, but a environmentally sensitive area. It's in the back corner of the property in the drainage directly across from Centerpoint Church. At one time, I think it had been proposed as part of the Greenway Trail system. With that being said, the trees have been removed, and they did preserve a few closer to the back property line that they're showing in the tree protection area as it is shown on the plan. I also need to add that this area is being shown on the development plan as I believe a regional detention basin. So we're not even sure, without having reviewed construction plans, if it would have been possible for the development to have preserved the trees. But I guess that's all a moot point at this point because they're no longer there. And the tree board, during their conversations, their discussion was really what would be the penalty at this point in this situation where someone is removing trees on a property. They're not shown on the development plan. They need to be shown. Staff has the ability during the sign-off process to ask for that, and in the meantime, now that they've been removed from the property, what is the enforcement? But that's an issue that we will have to discuss or investigate internally.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Penn, you got a question? Hold on, Mr. Curry. I think the question's for you.
It is for you, Mr. Curry.
Okay.
You're just giving me the greatest pass the buck story I've ever heard. If those bur oak trees were not on the inventory of that property, why weren't they? Because they're very significant trees. Did the applicant not put them on there?
That's correct.
Did you never look at the plan? What happened here?
They are not shown on the plan, and unfortunately, we need to do that. As a condition condition of my sign off, I could have asked for that, and I was going to ask for that, but they've been removed now from the site.
So the advice you give developers is better to ask permission than beg forgiveness and ask permission?
They should not have been doing any kind of activity on this property, given that there is not though there is a formally approved development plan, this plan has not been approved by this body.
Right.
There should not be any land disturbance activity occurring on this property. I can't answer why the trees were removed. Maybe the petitioner.
While I've still got you here, because I know Mr. Gross is going to weigh down this, and that's fine. You know, it's not like this developer doesn't know what a bur oak tree is.
That's correct. They have preserved many on other properties.
That's my point. So, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but I can tell you right now, somebody dropped the ball and dropped it bad. And if this body is going to function like they're supposed to function, we have to have the information to function with. Before you ever have an enforcement issue, you not to know they're there.
Right.
So I don't mean to beat up on you, but I mean to tell you that we got to fix this. You know, begging forgiveness is fine, but it's not like they don't know what a bur oak tree is.
And that is exactly what the feeling that the tree board has, is that the tree protection ordinance, while it is a good thing for this community, but it's not perfect. And we haven't reviewed that ordinance since that legislation was passed in, I think, 2000. And here we are 16 years later, and we have never reviewed the ordinance at this point in time to see how effective is it. And I can tell you that it is effective, but there are times when information is not shown on the plan, and it is up to staff to bring that to the attention of the petitioner and this body. But I'm not sure that anyone other than the person actually doing the removal of the trees is to blame when that work was never authorized by this Bourbon County government to be on that property. It is private property, but once you submit that development plan, there should not be any activity to change the appearance, tree removals, other than mowing the grass. There should not be any activity to disturb that soil out there.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gross?
Al Gross, CA Partners, and it's good to be back.